Do you feel like you could use more confidence in your life? Today's episode is Cultivating Confidence, and it is all about bringing out those natural strengths in you that you may have forgotten about. I'm Andrew. Kat, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing super duper. I'm really excited for this because I remember you had a confidence challenge at one point on your site. And I think confidence is something that I was never really good at. I don't know if it's Canadian humility or, I don't know what it is. But what do you do? What are your kind of go-to moves for cultivating confidence in yourself?
I just thought of a couple of dance moves, but that's not what you're asking. I was like the worm, the spigot, like that's not it. I think people get the wrong idea about confidence. People think that confident people are born that way, like it's some sort of character trait. What I always love to teach people about confidence is that it's a skill like anything else. Confidence is something that you can learn how to be, just like you can learn how to play the guitar or you can learn how to cook. You can learn how to be confident. And it really starts with knowing what you want and knowing who you are. And that is one big thing that we teach, right? Is we help people in the very first week of our 5-week coaching accelerator get in touch with who they actually are, the skills that they actually have that they might have forgotten about, the things that they like. Because the more that you do something, the more that you live your life in alignment and with authenticity, confidence is just a direct result of that.
I like that. As you were talking, I thought, I think confidence is really that internal thing like we're talking about. But I often get confused as thinking confidence is what is displayed more as egoic pride and kind of like this bolstering of strength. And it's really not that, is it?
I think that pride and strength are aspects of confidence. I also think that confidence is like, it's a self-assuredness. It is also indicative of experience. And you're not going to feel confident the first time you do something. The first time you have to get up and give a presentation at work, you're not going to feel confident. But 10 years into your career, after you've maybe done the same job and you've gotten some results and whatever, you have this big presentation to make. You make the presentation, you get up there, like you feel good. Even like with the kids, like when they're going to take a test, they might have some test anxiety. They might not feel confident in their abilities. But once they study, once they practice their math, once they go over their facts, they feel confident going into the test, right? So confidence is evidence that you've taken the time to learn something, practice something. And that goes for self-assuredness and knowing yourself too, because it takes time and practice in a world that's telling us how to be, how to dress, what jobs to have, what order to do your life in. It takes a lot of confidence to say, that's great for you, but I've spent this time with myself. I know what I want. I know what makes me happy, and I'm good with it, even if no one else understands.
I like that. I like that attitude. To me, maybe we'll get into like hacks for confidence, but the thing that's rising up right now is, for me, confidence is having that assuredness that I've survived everything in my life so far, and that I will figure it out. I will find a way, and just kind of having that inner knowing that, and some people might call it faith or, just inner strength or something else. But to me, it's just knowing that, okay, I've gone through a lot of hard things in my life and I know I got this. And I think the confidence part kind of is for inside of me. And I don't know if anyone else will relate to this, but it's when you kind of, you have that fear, like, oh no, what's going to happen? And then there's kind of like this deep breath that kind of goes, I got this. And your energy kind of shifts around it. And you know that I might not know how to play the guitar today, but I'm going to keep at it and I'm going to get good at it. And I know that it's just a matter of showing up.
That's right.
Consistently till I get better at it. And so I guess confidence is kind of also, there's a bit of humility in it, and knowing that you're okay to be the beginner at it again while you develop the strength in that particular thing. And that's really hard. We can see that when you're trying to discover your life purpose and lead it. And it's why it's so important to have a support group around you, is when you start doing this, it's new and you need to have people help you be confident to reassure you, like, no, this is good. This is, you're standing in your truth. You're really good at this thing, and you need to just keep owning it. And as you own it, you're going to create new neural pathways. You're going to get more habits around it, and you're going to feel stronger as you go. But it's something you build.
Yeah. I'm kind of reminded right now we are building our social media accounts for 5-Year You. We've put a lot of time and attention into that. We're also working on emails to send to our subscribers. By the way, we're at 5-Year You on all socials, FIVE Year You. And then 5yearyou.com, you can get our emails and learn a little bit about us and our coaching and all of that. But you have to be okay with feedback. So we're in a group with several other entrepreneurs, and we showed them a couple of our emails, and honestly, they made them so much better, but it was hard. It's like you're kind of exposing yourself. You have to be vulnerable and be like, look, we worked really hard on these emails and we're trying to help people get to know us, and to have people be like, use a different picture, use different words,
Shorter sentences.
shorter sentences, you're rambling on, whatever. And I could sit there and get kind of miffed and be like, I'm a professional writer, I can do this. But in order to get confidence, like Andrew said, you sort of have to humble yourself first. Same thing with growing Instagram. Our goal is to reach as many people as possible. We said at the very beginning of creating 5-Year You that we wanted to help 1 million people become their best selves in 5 years. And in order to do that, we have to do trial and error when it comes to finding those 1 million people. So I had to, create reels where I honestly, the video was like kind of embarrassing. I'm like, I had to, then I put up an embarrassing reel of Andrew. People really liked that one. Then I put up a reel where I talked about something serious, like feeling your feelings, and like we got no hits on it, right? And so then I'm like, oh, well, am I not enough of an expert, right? So all these self-conscious thoughts bubble up. But I'm going to keep consistent with it. I'm going to keep going. And when we have thousands of followers, I guarantee you someone's going to say, how do you have the confidence to like get on the camera every day? And the answer is like, we acquired it through trial and error, through being willing to be silly, to be willing to fail, to be willing to have things fall flat in order to succeed at our cause. So I also think that if you're having trouble with like the self-conscious thoughts, sort of having a purpose beyond yourself can help you with some of those initial self-conscious moments. Just so everyone knows we're not like bubbling over with confidence here. We are just like, okay, well, I hope everyone doesn't think I'm dumb. Here we go, publish.
Well, I think we're all work in progress for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like when it comes to confidence and the social media stuff, I feel like we're giving ourselves permission to just keep at it. And because it's we know the mission, we know what we're doing, we know why we're doing it. So that's easier, but you have to have those things, because if you want to get confident in your profession or anything else, you know why you want to get confident in your profession, because it's going to pay you to be
Right.
better at it. It's a little harder when you're like, I want to be confident in cooking breakfast for my kids.
Yeah.
Like it's not the
They're
same
going to
kind
reject
of
it
necessity.
anyway. That is not a good place to build confidence. They will
Actually,
torch it each time.
I have apparently nailed eggs finally after 40
Well,
plus
yeah,
years.
you make the best eggs, but
Thank you.
But the kids
that's the
didn't
only
say
thing.
that. It's me.
No, my kids. My kids said it. My son says it this
I'm
morning.
sorry.
Like
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
I'm not
no,
trying
it's
to
okay.
take down your confidence.
What are
You
you doing
are
with my confidence?
the premium egg maker. I didn't know. Okay, so it's just the twins that will crush your confidence in terms of
that's the
your
age
food.
Too. They're younger. They're younger, and their tastes aren't evolved to eggs yet. No, I'm just kidding. I think when we're looking at confidence in a sense of growth, that our ego is the thing that kind of doesn't want us to be confident. And when I say ego, I'm not talking about being like egocentric and like, kind of big and gregarious. Look up gregarious for me and make sure I got that right. But what I'm talking about is looking at things, and your ego's role is to keep you safe. So the second you want to build confidence in something or try something new, your ego will most likely show up and go, be careful.
Yeah.
We don't know how to do this. We better not. We're going to look foolish. And that is the first year of anything. You need that. You need to protect the idea. You need to you need to nurture the seed, just like anything in life, right? We need to protect those things. As babies, we're like that too, right? We need to be nourished and protect. After a year, you can put yourself out in the wilderness as a baby. I'm sure you'd survive. But that was a terrible joke. And
terrible.
Catherine is shaking her head at me. Please, ladies and gentlemen, do not put your babies in the forest.
Oh my gosh. Onwards.
Oh, wow. Okay. But my point is, in the beginning, you need to protect yourself. And you need to give yourself permission, but you also need to protect yourself while you are harnessing and developing your confidence in an area. And like we talked in our last episode about trappings of success, when you decide to go run a different race or to not run the race at all, in our case, you need people around you to say like, no, it's good. Like Catherine said, we're in a group of entrepreneurs that when we have struggles, we go to them and they help us bolster our confidence back up to the levels that we need, because, we get stuck in our heads pretty easily. And it's important that you have those people that you can go to that will bolster your confidence. I have 4 people that I go to on a regular basis in my life. Also the 4 closest people in my life that will help me with my confidence. Catherine, obviously, you're number 1. My mom, David, and Willie Joe, they are all people that when I have a hard time or I'm just not in that position of strength, I can turn to them and say, look, I'm weak right now. And they will boost me up. And it's important to have the team.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be, it can be a team of 1, but you need others around you to help you with this.
Yeah, although your baby in the woods thing was a terrible example.
I had a really good one last episode, so I'm allowed to have another 40 bad ones before my next good one.
But it brought to mind, it did serve a purpose, because it brought to mind, oh jeez. This is
bad. It was so bad.
My God, this is devolving.
Go on.
I'm so sorry. Oh, gonna get it together. Okay. It brought up.
Okay.
Jeez.
Go ahead. I'll mute myself.
Goodness. It brought up something important that we forget. And one of the things I wanted to do with this episode was give some concrete examples of things people can do to improve their confidence. And the very first thing is to recognize that being worried or self-conscious is actually a primal response because our, human selves needed to be within groups of people. We needed to assimilate in order to survive, right? Our survival back in caveman days required us to be similar to a group. And because that wasn't that long ago, right, on the evolutionary spectrum, we still have all of those built-in warning signals into our body, right? And so your brain is always trying to keep you safe. So anytime you're like, I want to go do this new thing, I think I'm going to switch careers, I think I'm going to whatever, go travel somewhere new, your brain is like, warning, warning, what's everyone going to think? What if you die? And so just that awareness and knowing that anytime you get worried about doing something or you're a beginner at something, that's the reason why. It's literally built into your DNA programming to be the same, because being the same meant that you survived. And
Stay
so,
safe.
yeah, to stay safe. Exactly. So if you don't feel confident or you feel like, oh, I'm the weird one in this group of like parents or whatever, that's okay. That's your brain saying there's something wrong with that, because it means, oh, well, what if I don't survive? But you don't have to worry about that in today's world, because you're allowed to be your unique self, wear what you want, do the kind of jobs you want. You get to live your life how you want in whatever way that you please, right? So long as you're not hurting anyone, breaking any laws, right? You have a lot of freedom to live life as you please without the threat of like survival.
That's a really good one. One of the things I did in, I think it was at the Millionaire Mind Weekend Retreat by T. Harv Eker. This is like almost 20 years ago now.
Years ago, yeah.
Yeah. And you, at one point, to bolster your confidence, you write down everything you have ever accomplished in your life. And we're talking about like anything. There's no wrong answer. You just get it all on the page. And it's like a 20-minute exercise. And I had things like I learned to play this song on guitar. I know I keep coming back to guitar, but we do. But like I got my driver's license. I even put like, I graduated kindergarten in grade 1 and grade 2. And then I had to stop there, of course. But but like I had a lot of things. And what happens is, and this is a fantastic exercise for anyone who's kind of feeling down in the dumps or that they just can't do it, or you get a little setback. You start to just make a note of everything you have accomplished, because you have accomplished so much in your life already. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of reminds you that the thing that you're working on that you haven't done, that you're not feeling confident about, you're going to feel you're going to achieve it, and you're going to forget about it most likely, because it's just going to be old news, and that's what our brains do. But it's really good to look back and go, wow, I traveled to these places. I know how to, I know how to whistle. Like some people can't, like there's a lot of things that people forget how unique it is to them, because it's just something we know how to do. It's
normal to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I actually was on a similar line of thinking earlier when we were talking. And I think we have an episode called Finding Evidence. And I think when you're in a state of feeling self-conscious, your brain scans for all the evidence to support that opinion, right? It's like, oh, I said this like super awkward thing in front of this person at work, or, I tried to learn how to paint and it was a disaster, or whatever it is. That time
made a really
what'd you say?
I was going to say, or made a really bad baby reference analogy in a podcast that got
I was
recorded
to talk about
millions.
the time that you burned the nachos, but I wasn't going to bring it up.
Oh, that was so good. That was
literally going to burn down the whole building from making nachos. But all that to say is your brain can find evidence of those things. But instead, if you want to develop confidence, you can. You are silly today. But you see,
the parchment caught on fire.
Yeah,
and
it
lift the
was
nachos
bad,
up.
guys. I mean,
Oh,
it would have been a really embarrassing way to burn down the building. It's like, oh, what were you doing? Was it electrical? Nope, just making nachos. But,
how did you die? I burnt in a tragic nacho fire incident.
so
Oh my
bad.
gosh.
But you see, Andrew didn't grab that evidence. He talked about how good he was at making eggs, and that's a confident person.
And I got back and I did make nachos again.
And
And
now
now
he's
when it
rebuilding
happens,
his nacho
I,
confidence. Get
yes,
it?
my,
Nacho confidence.
yeah.
This is devolved, but
This is just us though. Like, and that's the thing. Like you and I, we show up on these podcasts and I think there's, we've never really mentioned like toxic positivity or like,
yeah,
like just like this overall kind of, this is
yeah,
how great everything is. Like, I mean, come on, we always say we're work in progress and we
yeah,
are, but like,
sure,
if you're taking anything from this episode, it's that, you know, I, as someone as bad analogies as Andrew and terrible chef as Andrew can still somehow find confidence to talk into a microphone on a weekly basis to help you. But it's through our trials and our errors that we gain more confidence, right?
yeah. That's
Right?
exactly it. Yes, exactly it. That is the summation of the episode. The point I was trying to make in the beginning is that people are not born with like, hey, oh, look at this cute baby with brown hair, blue eyes, and confidence. Like, it's not something that people inherently have. It is something that you can learn. It is a skill you can develop. And look, like I could look at like a little old lady and like, a neon yellow jumpsuit and know that she has more confidence than some guy in a boardroom in a suit who's like, that really low self-worth or self-esteem and is like trying to overcompensate for it, right? With his suit or
Yeah,
whatever. And
absolutely.
so confidence is not always like what people think. So you have to decide what it means for you, why you want to be confident. What is the purpose for wanting to be this way? Maybe you're just tired of feeling self-conscious and you want to be like someone someone you admire. And so identifying the reason why and identifying the areas that you would like to improve can really help. I'm just sort of
Yeah.
knowing the direction that you're going, knowing that those warning signals in your head are not because something's wrong with you, but because of how you're literally built as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
You're built to like worry and to feel self-conscious approaching new things. And that confidence is earned and built over time from learning
Yeah.
how to do things.
And I would just say, well, one of the things that came up is I am. I've noticed that voice, right? And I've told you, I call it my prick voice because there's no other better word for it. But it's that voice that kind of wants to keep me safe. And it
Yeah.
kind of like, it's almost like a coach kind of like I played hockey. So the coach was always on behind the bench, like just barking stuff at you.
Right.
And what I found with this is that the voice, it doesn't talk a lot. It just wants to give you the fear and then it's going to recede back. It's kind of like, I want to, it's like that Adam Sandler skit, like, they're all going to laugh at you. Whereas like, I want to learn how to play the guitar. They're all going to laugh at you. And then it just kind of disappears again. But what I've started to do is interact with that voice and just kind of say like, no, why? And just because you got to push past that fear. And my way of doing it in the last few weeks has been kind of looking at it and just challenging that voice in my head. And it's like, well, why are you saying that? Well, they're all going to laugh at you. Well, I'm not playing for anybody else, but they're going to laugh at you, but they're actually not. So what's the real fear here? And it's, and then you get into like the deeper meanings of these things. But what you usually find with these things is that there's a sense of lack of worthiness or lack of enough. And that's where a lot of like these fears will come out of when you're trying to build confidence is just, it really is just trying to keep you stuck because that's safe and that's what's known, but you were never meant to be stuck. You were never meant to stay the same. You've been made to change your whole life. And your ego just really wants things the way it is because it can't get a concept of how great it's going to be in this new thing because it has nothing to draw on from the past. So it doesn't know what it's like to be a rock star on stage. It doesn't know what it's like to cook nachos and not set the whole apartment on fire. It just does these things. So you're in charge of that voice, I think, is kind of the goal that I'm trying to communicate here, is that voice isn't you. It's just a voice trying to keep you safe. And you know better. You are not that voice. You are the person listening to that voice, and you can choose not to listen to it at any point in your life.
I think that's an awesome spot to end. I think it's good advice, and hopefully our listeners will take some tidbits from this episode. Which tidbits I can't be too sure of.
Keep your baby
safe. Watch the broiler, people. But so let's move on to the glimmers. Andrew, what is your glimmer for this week?
My glimmer this week is, it's my son's birthday this week. And last week I said we did the trip, but I am so proud of both of my kids. And I've had these moments lately where I just look at them and they're at that age where they're not completely self-sufficient, but they're getting there.
Yeah.
And it just makes me so proud of the people that they're becoming. So that's my glimmer for the week. How about you, Catherine?
I love that. I actually was going to do the kids as well, because
Glad you asked me first.
I know. Well, I think I'm feeling the same feeling of gratitude. And my son bought a flower for this girl he likes. At the time of this recording, he's 10. And the twins do their chores. They get an allowance. They have their own debit cards. And that little boy rode his red bike into town, walked into the flower shop, asked for a rose. Just speaking of confidence, my gosh. Mm-hmm. And I don't even want to talk to people in stores. It's like, and paid for the rose with his own money and then gave it to her. I near about died when I heard about this. So anyway, as he was giving it to her, I, tried to stay back, and my daughter and I got some one-on-one time. We went and got crepes at this little crepe place, and she's so self-aware and just interesting, and she was being very complimentary of her twin, like, oh, he's such a nice guy to do that. And I don't know. It's being a parent is so hard if you care so much and you're a sensitive person like we are. But then there's these high moments where you're just like, wow, you're a cool person. And they just surprise you. And I honestly came home and cried when he showed me that flower and told me what he did, just because I didn't even know what the feeling was. It was just my baby, I'm so proud of you. That's so sweet. I'm so glad you're a good guy. It just was overflowing emotion from it. So I love that we were both thinking about the kids as our glimmers this week.
Of course, we tend to share our brain pretty much all the time. So
yeah,
I love it. All right, everybody, you guys have a great week, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye.
Are you feeling stuck in your life right now, kind of not sure where to go or what your next steps are? We've created a coaching program for you to help you discover your path, and we call it 5 Weeks to Future You. So what you'll get is 2-to-1 coaching with Catherine and I over 5 weeks while we help you figure out what the next steps are in your life. We offer a complimentary call. You just have to go to 5yearyou.com to check it out and set up your call with us to see if we're a good fit. I know from my own experience that it is incredibly hard to do this on your own, and that's why we're offering these coaching calls. We're only going to work with 5 people at a time to make sure that we can give you the attention that you truly deserve. So head on over to 5yearyou.com to get started.
Hey guys, quick disclaimer. We're podcasters on the internet. If you need to seek professional help, please go see your healthcare professional.